We've helped hundreds, if not thousands of people start these businesses. And so we've noticed over time, there are some initial foundational steps that you have to get right in order for everything else to work.
Today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different on the podcast. So we're going to try to condense everything that we teach at Dropship Unlocked into this single episode. So this is hopefully going to be one of your one-stop guides to finding out about high-ticket dropshipping, Shopify, Google Ads, and crucially, strategies to create financial freedom through e-commerce.
Yeah, it's a lot to cram into one episode, but we're going to do our utmost to try and deliver so that hopefully by the end of today's episode, you'll have a really comprehensive overview of the entire home turf advantage model, how our masterclass program works, right from the foundational principles that it's built on through to some of the more advanced strategies and tactics that we can deploy as we're building these businesses. So we'll be covering everything from mindset to niche selection. How do you select the products that you want to sell? Building out your website, your store design, supplier signing, relationships with suppliers, and advertising, how you actually bring traffic to your store. So PPC or pay-per-click mastery, as we call it. And then finally, the daily operations. So how you run your store once it's up and running to ensure that it remains a lifestyle business for you and gives you back freedom over your time and location.
Exactly. So thousands of people have been through this system and been taught by you and myself, Lewis, with the home turf advantage. We've taught this through hours of content on the podcast. We've got hours of content in the masterclass program with video content. But what we want to try and do is condense so you understand everything that we teach into one episode. So if you do want to build financial freedom for yourself through e-commerce or through online business, then this is a great place to start. So Lewis, let's kick things off with the basics. Firstly, what is dropshipping and how does high-ticket dropshipping differ from the traditional model?
Sure. So high-ticket dropshipping, as it's called, focuses on premium products, which means that each sale that you make brings you in way more profit than with the traditional cheap products from China model that you'll see flaunted around all over the internet. I remember when I made my first high-ticket sale after dabbling in the low-ticket, low-priced goods world, selling products that were like £20 for barely any profit once all of the advertising and taxes and everything ate up the remaining profit. I remember making that first high ticket sale, which was for several £100s, like £600-700, I think it was. And just the excitement of seeing such a significant amount of profit from one transaction was incredible. And that feeling of, oh, this is what they mean when they say work smart, not hard. Because it would have taken me the same amount of effort to upload and prepare and run ads to a product that was £20 as one that was £670. And I realized, oh, this is kind of like selling luxury cars instead of budget vehicles. Like each sale that I make brings in so much profit that it means that the volume of sales that I have to make is so much lower to hit my target monthly income and replace my salary at the time, my income. So the other benefits that come from this are obviously the better customer satisfaction as well. When you're working with local suppliers, we advise working with suppliers in the market where your customers are living. So for us, it's in the UK, ensuring that products don't have to cross borders, that everything's there, it's ready, can be easily delivered with fast next day delivery. It just ensures a much better buying experience. You've got better quality control because the suppliers in the UK have usually inspected the products and quality assured them to ensure that your customers are going to be happy when the product arrives with them. And it just gives you a nice sustainable business model with sustainable growth over the long term. If you build a brand around high ticket items that you know are in consistent demand, that you know aren't based on a trend, and we'll go into niche selection later, it just ensures long-term success without having to make thousands of low ticket sales and force your customers to wait for 30 days and have a bad buying experience. So in a nutshell, that's the home turf advantage.
Exactly. And we've tried both different types of dropshipping, Lewis. I know we both failed with that low ticket idea of dropshipping, which is probably the first thing that people think of when they hear the term dropshipping, is they understand the concept of selling someone else's products on your own website and taking a margin between how much your customer pays and how much you pay to your supplier. And that comes with so many benefits, but it's crucial the type of dropshipping that we teach is completely different from the traditional dropshipping. Apart from the name, there's really not that many similarities because of the different type of products that we'll sell, the different way that we market the products, the different way that we interact with customers, and it is way away from the traditional dropshipping business model. But it still has those core benefits of dropshipping, which is not needing massive upfront capital to buy stock, not needing to risk lots of money in buying that stock, not needing to risk lots of time and effort to get these businesses up and running. And you can do it all from a laptop, all online. And that's the reason why we do dropshipping and why we teach it to so many people. So if people are interested in starting the dropshipping that we teach, what would you say are the first steps that someone should take when starting a dropshipping business?
Yes, as you mentioned, we've helped hundreds, if not thousands of people start these businesses. And so we've noticed over time, there are some initial foundational steps that you have to get right in order for everything else to work down the line, downstream of it. So you've got to make sure that the foundations are in place first. And the foundations that we see time and time again coming up later, so we want to address these early, are, and it sounds cliche, but it's mindset preparation. Really making sure that you're building on a solid entrepreneurial mindset. And I'll explain a bit about that in a moment. The other things would be formalizing the business so that you actually have a business rather than it just being you that is the business. And then just setting up all the essentials as well. And we'll run through that. But I think if I put myself back in the mindset of an employee, which I was for 10 years before starting my own e-commerce business, the moment that I decided that I was ready to leave my 9-to-5 job and fully commit to e-commerce and dropshipping, I remember that feeling of excitement, that feeling of fear, that I guess the fear comes from the level of ownership that you now have to take over your business because the buck stops with you, which is both a blessing and a curse. It's a great thing because it gives you control, autonomy. You can do what you want with the business. It's yours to run, but also there's nowhere to hide. There's no one to blame. So preparing your mindset for that is really important, and establishing a clear vision at the beginning of why you're doing what you're doing. Why is it important for you to build a business that creates that time and location freedom? What specifically will you use it to achieve and do in your life? Because that's the thing that will carry you through those annoying, early, frustrating days of things going wrong and stuff breaking and stuff, technological frustrations that we'll all encounter with an online business. And also setting realistic goals, making sure that you're not saying, I want £5 million in sales in my first couple of months, because very unlikely to happen using this model. We're not claiming that it will happen. Our goal with this is to ensure that you create a business that can replace your existing income. Now, if you want to then scale it beyond that, that absolutely can happen. But the initial step is to help people escape from the shackles of the 9-to-5. So think of it like mapping out your journey on a trip before you start driving. We don't just suddenly drive, put our foot down 100 miles an hour, but not have a clue where we're going. We need to know roughly where's the road that we're trying to get to leading. And so that's the first thing, getting the mindset right. And we have a whole process inside week 1 of our masterclass program guiding you through how that works, so that by the end of that, you are confident, you embody the mind of an entrepreneur, and you feel really confident in your ability to go out and deliver on that vision. The next is registering your limited company. So this is actually one of the foundational steps that a lot of people miss because they think that maybe they don't need to do it. I'll start a company later. But what we find is later on, if you don't have a company, there's kind of a level of like legitimacy and protection missing if you don't have it. So we just advise getting your limited company set up from the outset if you're in the UK or if you're running a business in the UK. And so we have cheat sheets inside our program that have step-by-step tutorial videos guiding you through, answering all the questions, showing you exactly how to do it. And so, once you have that limited company, the other thing you can do is separate your finances. You shouldn't be using your personal finances to run a business. You should make sure that the business has its own finances in place so that your finances are separate from your business. Makes it much easier to calculate profitability, and come tax return season, everything's much simpler. So setting up a business bank account, gathering all of the necessary tools, making sure everything's set up and integrated. And I think once you've done that, you feel like you're ready to jump in and tackle the world of entrepreneurship. So those are the important foundational steps.
Absolutely crucial. And it's a huge part of what we teach at Dropship Unlocked. I remember when I joined the masterclass a few years ago, and I was surprised by the level of detail about the mindset that we need to have involved. And what we've talked about there is so crucial to have that positive frame of mind while going into this, and having a really clear vision of what success will be for you, so that you inevitably get there because you can overcome all of the obstacles. Because I think what's crucial is if you've got a weak desire, then you'll achieve weak results. But if you've got a really strong desire to achieve something, then that's when you see the strong results. It's completely correlated to how much of a desire you have to achieve something. And that's crucial in what we teach before we go into doing anything. Then once you've got that mindset, limited company set up, business bank account, and we're ready to do some work, ready to go to business and ready to make some money. So probably one of the biggest questions we ever get asked, Lewis, is what product should I sell? Because they decided they love the idea of dropshipping, they're ready to succeed, but they just don't know where to start. What should I even sell? So it becomes a huge part of what we teach, choosing a profitable niche. So how do you think somebody should go about choosing a profitable niche?
Well, with niche selection or product selection, we've, in the same way as we did with mindset and building your business and registering your company, we've tried to reverse engineer it. So we've seen a lot of businesses succeed and some fail as well. So we know the reasons, the common reasons, and the pitfalls that people fall into later in the journey. So one of the benefits of education like this and mentorship is that we can help you avoid those pitfalls right from the start, rather than allowing you to get 6 months into your journey only to find out through trial and error that, the niche you picked isn't viable or won't work long term because of XYZ reason. So some of the things that we do, and we have a 9-step niche validation criteria system where it's very, very clear that we guide you through in every single video, step-by-step, over-the-shoulder tutorial on how to do this. But it would be things like focusing on average core price for your product group. So that might be, if you were to look at the search results of the products that you're considering selling, what's the average, the mean core price of those products? Not the price of the cheapest one or the most expensive one. Those are the outliers. But what's the kind of typical value of one of those products? Because we want to ensure that our average order value is nice and high, ideally above 300, ideally above 500 pounds if we can. We've got people in our program who have average order values beyond £1,000, right? So, and that's for one single sale. And it's just because they chose wisely with the niche. They have to do less work or the same work in order to make way more profit than the next person who's got an average order value of £20 or £50. And so that's one of 9 criteria. Another few might be things like customer demand. How often are the products, the niche that you're looking to go into, being searched for by customers in the market that you're considering going into? We can get access to this data. We can actually see how many times some people on average searched in the market, so in the UK that we're selling in, per month, the kind of parent level keyword for the products that we're considering selling. So that's another system. If it's too low, we want to exclude those products, or maybe we just want to expand the niche so that it's not just that group of products, but it's that and maybe something else. So we'd talk about going up to like a level 2 niche and expanding out. And the next thing would be like trends and seasonality and supplier validation, making sure that the suppliers in the niche already are happy to dropship. These are all things that we see later on in the past. We've seen members get to that point and then stumble and be like, it's only popular in the summer or the winter, or the suppliers just don't seem to want to dropship. So what we've done is just reverse engineer the whole process so that you never encounter one of those pitfalls later because you were aware of them from day one. That's the benefit of this. It saves you time, it saves you money, and lots of expensive trial and error and mistakes. So I did a huge amount of extensive research to find the niches that I decided to enter with my high-ticket dropshipping businesses. I know you will have done too, James. And I think when you're analyzing those trends and trying to look for a stable group of products, we're not looking for something that's trending. We're not looking for, the next cool thing that spikes up in trends because of some viral concept on TikTok and then the next month it's gone. We're looking for something that's going to be here in 5, 6, 10 years so that we have a stable cash flowing business that makes sales regardless of the environment. So it's about making those data-driven decisions and avoiding the trap of being led by your emotions. That's what we want to avoid. We want to make sure that we're making decisions based on data, trying to take emotion out of it. But then you can overlay emotion afterwards. You can look at your data-driven finalist ideas and then say, okay, which of these am I passionate about? Which do I want to run a business about? Because that is important. But yeah, if we can focus on average core price, on customer demand, on trends, on seasonality, on brand dominance, ensuring that we're not trying to go after niches that are dominated by global brands like Sony and Apple and LG. Like those brands are unlikely to supply you as a first-time limited company just starting out in business. So go for a niche where the brands are much smaller and they're more than willing to partner with smaller retailers like us. And then the most important bit really about niche selection is ensuring that the suppliers meet your standards for quality, reliability, but also making sure that they are already happy to dropship. That's one of the key ingredients to making this all work. And so it's similar to, if you're vetting candidates for an important job, if you've got lots of applicants coming in, you'll have lots of suppliers that you see, but you want to find the ones that are already happy to do this and to forward orders out without you having to hold stock. Because later when you're making sales, that's going to be really important to making this whole model come to life.